Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this video is a quick preview and prediction for Joshua Buatsi versus Willy Hutchinson. This fight goes down on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois on the 21st of September at Wembley Stadium in the UK, and it's a fight that a fair few in the UK are looking forward to. In fact, I see a lot of people say that this should be competitive and that Willy Hutchinson has a fighting chance. Have to be honest, I don't really see this fight the same way. When I look at this fight personally, I only see it going one way, and that is in favour of Joshua Buatsi. I believe Buatsi, number one, he's a bigger light heavyweight. He's 6'2", whereas Hutchinson is 6'1". Buatsi's got a 74-inch reach, whereas Hutchinson's got a 72-inch reach. But also, Buatsi started his pro career at light heavyweight. Hutchinson came up from 168. And for me, not only is Buatsi a naturally bigger light heavyweight, he also, for me, is the stronger, more naturally stronger guy as well, and the bigger puncher, more physically robust, I would say. And that's one criticism I've always had with Willy Hutchinson, ever since that defeat to Lennox Clark, I believe it was, a couple of years ago or so, when he got stopped at 168. I've never really been sold on Willy Hutchinson's chin, his gas tank, his strength, and his ability to see through a hard fight. He's coming off a good win over Craig Richards. He boxed really well in that fight in many rounds. But even in that fight, it was a fight in which Hutchinson was always in control of. He was always ahead and he was fighting at his own pace for the most part. But even in that fight, as it went on, you could see that Hutchinson was starting to slow down. Craig Richards was starting to land a few more shots here and there. And when Craig Richards did land, yeah, Willy Hutchinson got through it, but I don't really think he looked all that comfortable. And bear in mind, this was a fight where Willy was boxing at his pace. He was controlling the tempo. And he was still flagging in that fight. Richards decided to box with Willy Hutchinson for whatever reason, and Hutchinson was able to outbox him. Hutchinson does have some good skills. He's got a lovely jab. He's got good fluidity. He's got relatively quick hands for a light heavyweight. Okay power. Puts his shots together pretty well. You can tell that Willy Hutchinson had a good amateur background in his style, but it almost looks a little too amateur for my liking, almost. Like there's no spite to his work, and like I said earlier, I don't have faith in his physical robustness. The issue I think he's going to have in this fight is that Buatsi is not really going to box with him. He may be a little circumspect in the early rounds, first 2 to 3 rounds, might take a look at Willy Hutchinson. That might give Hutchinson an opportunity to nick a couple of rounds based on more activity. But eventually Buatsi is going to start going through the gears and really start applying that pressure behind that jab, behind that guard as Buatsi does, and then digging downstairs to the body, coming upstairs with the hooks, really putting it on Willy Hutchinson. And ultimately, he'll try to run over Hutchinson with his offense, with his body work, with his power shots. Buatsi is quite an aggressive fighter, primarily. Does his best work at mid-range, in my opinion. Pretty decent on the inside, got a good jab from the outside, but he's primarily an aggressive fighter. You know, Hutchinson, I think, is going to naturally take the approach as the back foot fighter in this bout, the matador, so to speak. And that's all well and good. I think he's got the fluidity, the dexterity, and the movement to have a little success. But I don't think he's got the ability. Maybe not the ability. I don't think he's got, like I said, I don't think he's got the physical toughness, the durability to carry out that sort of game plan for 12 rounds. You know? If he is going to somehow win this fight, I think he needs to switch it up. I think he needs to get Buatsi's respect. If he doesn't get Buatsi's respect, like I said, yeah, he could maybe outbox him for 2, 3, 4 rounds at a push. But again, I don't see him being able to keep Buatsi honest for 12 rounds. And I just think you'll see a situation where Buatsi just starts to slowly get on top and then really starts to go through the gears and grind him down for a stoppage. You know, in that Craig Richards fight, I felt the opportunity for a knockout was there. I felt the opportunity to go through the gears a little more was there, but he never really did. And as a result, yeah, Craig Richards was miles behind, but he was always in the fight because of Hutchinson's durability issues and maybe even stamina issues. I don't know. Maybe Hutchinson didn't really have faith in his gas tank, hence why he never opened up. He opened up at times, but he never really truly went through the gears kind of thing. And maybe that was because he didn't really have faith in his gas tank. I don't think he can afford to fight the same way against Joshua Buatsi that he did against Craig Richards. I don't think it'll be enough. I think you'll need to see a more varied offensive performance from Willy Hutchinson to win this fight. Buatsi is there to be hit. His defense isn't great. Primarily, he relies on his guard. He doesn't really move his head all that much. His head is on centre line. The shots are going to be there for Willy Hutchinson, but I think he's got to be brave at some point in this fight. I think he's got to be brave. And I'm not convinced that he's got the confidence to necessarily do that. People were very impressed with his performance over Craig Richards, but I saw a performance, while he boxed well, I still saw a performance that was filled with a lot of self-doubt. And maybe that's understandable to a degree. That was the first time he went 12 rounds. A couple of years earlier, he got knocked out by Lennox Clark. So maybe that was understandable to a degree, but what I will say is I don't think he can show that same sort of lack of confidence per se in this fight with Buatsi, because I just think Buatsi at this level is the type of guy to really kind of grind you down and get on top of you kind of thing. Buatsi's not a perfect fighter by any means, but I think he's a good solid European level fighter. For me, Willy Hutchinson in his last fight proved himself to be a good domestic fighter. And, if I have these ratings right, a good domestic fighter is not going to beat a good European level fighter. I think Buatsi is just a bit too big, a bit too strong, a bit too offensive, a bit too powerful. And ultimately, the cute boxing of Willy Hutchinson may get him a little success here and there, but I think eventually he's going to get ground down and stopped. I'm actually quite confident in this pick. I've got Buatsi by stoppage. When it happens, I'd probably say mid-rounds, like 5, 6, 7, that sort of area. But I'm pretty confident that Buatsi wins this fight by stoppage. It's not even that I rate Buatsi as this elite level light heavyweight per se, because I don't. I think he's a good European level light heavyweight right now. But I just think stylistically, he's got a lot of tools that's going to really trouble Willy Hutchinson. And I think he's going to ask for questions of Hutchinson's durability, his stamina, and his self-belief. And I'm not convinced that Willy Hutchinson excels in those areas. Could be totally wrong. I'm actually quite surprised to see so many people pick, not even pick Willy Hutchinson, but there's a lot of people say, yeah, Buatsi's favourite, but Hutchinson has a real chance. I'd actually be very surprised if Hutchinson won this fight, like shocked. I'd call it a flat-out upset, to be honest with you. I'd call it a flat-out upset. But, listen, it is what it is. It's two domestic guys going at it. Two guys who are trying to get to world level. The WBO interim title is on the line in this fight, so there's something to fight for. But yeah, I fully expect Buatsi to win this fight, and I fully expect him to win by stoppage, to be quite honest. What about you guys? How do you see this fight going? Do you give Hutchinson a chance in this one? I can't see it. I think he's got to sell out almost, and take a few more risks in this fight. I think he has to get Buatsi's respect. The defensive vulnerability is there for Willy Hutchinson to try and throw those shots. It's whether he does or not. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.